Mathematics, science, and technology. This is actually at the core of economic development. And the fact that this program is actually situated in economic development says a lot about that field as a whole. When you look at infrastructure, whether you look at buildings, or you look at road constructions, or you look at the stadia as we have them there, at the back, where conceptualization took place, where the ideas were first on paper, there was a scientist, there was an architecture, there was somebody who put these ideas together. So this is actually a very crucial subject field, the field of study that we have. The second component is your IT and ICT. I was lucky to go and sit in at the stadium for three matches. And on one occasion, I was sitting just behind the journalists. Now, in front of us, there were just journalists sitting. I don't know how many laptops were there, about 200 of them. These guys are journalists that come from the different organizations, different countries. They watch the match, they write the report. When the match ends, a report is in Brazil, it is printing for people to read. One comes from another country. As the match progresses, he writes the report. There are cameras there. He has got access to the cameras on the spot. When the match ends, all these reports go to the different countries. And what is that? That's technology. What is that? It's MST. It's the last T, MST, the technology part. Whether we think of it as electronic or we think of it as a subject that we have got in schools, it is a very critical area. It is actually the heartbeat of the time. If there is a subject area that is actually growing in size, it is your MST field. Every organization, if you talk of ICT or IT, every department has got ICT. Human settlements. Everybody wants to say, how do we do it better? And as I walked into the number of classes, I saw that IT, ICT in application. It is meant to be an end towards something. When you get a computer, you don't get a computer for its own sake. You want to get it so that your work becomes smarter and you work more efficiently and so on and so forth. So actually the field that has brought us together here, unfortunately, we are all struggling within that field. Performance within that field is not high enough. The learners don't pass math, science, and technology with good marks so far, but it is critical. It is the heartbeat. On a very increasing basis, I get approached by your Transnets, your telecom foundation. When the year ends, there's a serious grapple for the students to get bursaries. They actually do serious poaching of the learners that have passed well with maths and science results. And one organization called NPC did a program for learners from grade 10 to grade 12. And at the end of the year, the beginning of this year, they gave about 5 of them bursaries to go and study at university. At the university, other organizations that never did any development were waiting to find the wonderful, the good passers, the good results. Now these learners that came from NPC KwaZulu-Natal goes to First University with a bursary that covers virtually everything, about 60,000. Now another organization says, no, Transnet, don't worry, they've given you 60,000, I can give you 80. The poor child gets confused. At the end of the day, she crosses the floor. She takes the Transnet offer. What does it do to NPC? NPC comes back to us complaining. We have raised this child from grade 10, 11, and 12. Now when she's now at the university, somebody poaches that thing because there are few, because there are not enough. So I'm saying even though this field we're not performing and producing the right numbers, it is critical. We have potential. The African masses have potential. Potential, I don't know, my grade 7 general science or natural science used to say potential energy is the energy that is stored. Now, you grow up knowing all these things. Kinetic energy is the energy that you have in motion when things move. Now, I think, ladies and gentlemen, we have potential. The beauty of Africa is that it has potential. The challenge with that potential is that it needs to be released. It needs to be realized. It needs to be activated. And that's why, you know the author, Dr. Miles Monroe, who wrote the book that says, Maximizing Your Potential. If all of us can work together around a common purpose of putting more of the effort and energy in the field of MST, our output can be better. Professional development is about people. In the corporate world, when they talk about people, they say human capital. In other words, they say human money. When they look at a human being, they say this is money. So that resource, irrespective of what organization you're talking about, it is the most critical in any organization. If human resource falters, the whole organization will fail. Whether it is a church, or it's a soccer club, or it is a school, or whatever it is, or it's a department. All the policies of the department, air-conditioned rooms that sometimes we go to in meetings, do not make education. Education is made by people on the ground who are teaching. That's why you are so important. You are critically important because every day you stand in front of presidents without you knowing that there's a president. Every day you stand in front of the CEOs of companies without you knowing that. But the more and more you do your great work, put in your effort, those guys will come and will be produced. You know the joy of a teacher who meets the learner that he taught about 15 or 10 years ago and meets this learner, now he's a manager somewhere. I met one at the airport and they say, Mr. Digkomo. I turned around, I looked at this big-headed boy. Is that wow? I remember him from class. He was so excited he gave me 50 rand. So, I'm telling you, he was so excited he gave me 50 rand. He's now a director in another company. And then he remembers the fractions and the percentages and the struggling of the trigonometric functions that we did at school. Well, I had forgotten about it all. But it comes back to me as an element of gratitude. So the work that you do is critical, guys. It's important. Even though in some circles it may look like the system is not recognizing you enough, but that is very, very important. The more and more, the things will change. This curriculum is changing. It has changed, it is changing, it is still going to change. Everybody talks about change and change. The only thing that does not change is yourself. You're still at the center. Whether it is the NATED 550, or it's the curriculum 2005, or it's the NCS, you're still at the center. So at the end of the day, the more and more of such workshops, the greatest resource is yourself. And what the system has to do is to make sure that we've got more and more of workshops of this nature so that you get energized, you can move on. We can actually add something. There's nothing that is frightening like a teacher who goes to class and does not know what to say. Very frightening stuff, that one. You'll have all these reasons to slosh around because you remember little Jody at the corner. You know him with his questions. Sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am. And each time he raises his hand, you're not very sure of your answer. That classroom will haunt you. But if we get really capacitated, get all the training, then we'll have got all the confidence. We need to restore some few things. The one thing that I would like us to say that we need to restore as a system and also as a family is the fun and beauty of this maths and science. Why do we take it so serious? Huh? Why is there such horrible hype that, hey, uzofeyila maths? Everybody's talking. Why not the beauty once more? Let's play about it. When your child is naughty and then you try to help him and give him a little bit of do this, don't you see that you're doing parabola? It's parabola. It goes up there. It lands on him. We need to restore. We need to restore this beauty. Talk about it as something that we can enjoy. I mean, everybody is essentially a mathematician. When you provide or make meal for a family of 4, and I send you an SMS and say, I'm coming with my family of 6, what do you do as a cook? You adjust proportionally. 3 more cups of rice. A little bit more of salt. Don't you see that you're a mathematician? I mean, some of these things we need to restore them. The beauty of application of the maths and the science. We also need to restore the confidence and the competence, of course, of teachers. All of us remember 1 or 2 teachers who used to invite all these beautiful, give us inspiration down in our 1 or 2. I mean, there was a certain Mr. Matseki who taught us maths. Matseki was a brilliant chap. He had a kind of a squinted eye. He used to boast to us, say, hey, be like Mr. Matseki, and walk up and down. You look at him, he's smart, he knows his stuff. Say, be like Mr. Matseki, the man who understands figures. Hey, don't you want to be like him? Oh, you can forget everything, you can't forget that. All in all, he's inspiring you. We need to restore this kind of inspiration, a teacher who can add life to the kids. And I think we are on our way. We can get there. We need some space and shape. Look at that. We need about space and shape for mathematics in a competitive world. Why don't you play about this? Let's take this thing and restore what we need. So, ladies and gentlemen, Department of Education appreciates what has happened this week. And I think, of course, the meaningful partnerships that we have. The partnership with Moses Kotani, Baba Modi, we're very glad that you're there. You're doing a great job. We don't want to wait until you die and come and say, hey, this guy was great. No. We must tell you now, you're doing a great job. Really, we're really indebted for that job. We've got Department of Stats in this very university. Professor Delia North has done a workshop for teachers in statistics and has done it excellently. If you want to know, she has even done it without pay. Trained the teachers. And we're really indebted to the university for that kind of work. You've got Professor Manoj, ICT. That guy is a short man. He walks amongst his computers. You'll think he's another computer. We've got Department of Education. There's Dr. Mudali there, and his team who's doing the FET colleges, FET, ACE programs, and so on. The Department of Education is aware of these things, and we are glad to have these meaningful partnerships with them. And of course, Harry Oppenheimer says this. He says, we live in a multi-bonded pluriverse, in which if everything else is not related to everything, at least everything is related to something. Can you say that? Now for you, ladies and gentlemen, all the greatest reward of this week is not what you will get. You will get a certificate. We're very glad about that. We're going to facilitate that. But the greatest reward of this week is what you become by it. What you get is noted, but what you become is more important. On that note, I just want to thank you. Thank you very much.